Hey guys, in our previous video we were discussing about these particular cases of verbs that can be followed by infinitives and gerunds, and you are going to observe a change in meaning, right? So today in this video I am going to talk to you about some more cases of these verbs that if we decide to use a gerund we are going to get one meaning, and if we decide to use an infinitive we are going to get a different meaning. So I'm going to talk to you right now about the verbs mean, try, stop, and help. Now, the verb mean plus the infinitive means intend. Intend is something similar to want, right? And if I use mean plus a gerund, it means involve. Involve. Now, try plus an infinitive. Try plus infinitive means attempt. Okay? The usual meaning that we give to try. In other words, intentar, right? Now, try plus a gerund gives you a different idea. It gives you the idea that you are trying new approaches or different approaches in order to achieve a result. It would be more closely related in Spanish to the verb experimentar, okay? And then we have stop plus the infinitive, and stop plus the infinitive means to interrupt an activity. You interrupt an activity with the infinitive, but it also implies that after the interruption ends, the activity continues. If you use stop plus a gerund, means that you stop doing the action altogether. You don't do it anymore. Okay? If you use stop plus the gerund, the activity ends. If you use stop plus the infinitive, something happens for a little while, but then you resume doing the same activity that you were performing at the beginning. And then we have the case of help plus the infinitive, which means to assist, right? Ayudar, that's what we say. And help plus a gerund, it's a little tricky because it is used with can't help. And can't help doesn't mean no puedo ayudar, okay? It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean no poder ayudar. It means no poder evitar. That's what can't help means. So I want you to be very careful with this. So can't help is always used with a gerund. You don't use can't help with the infinitive ever. And again, it means that your reaction for something that is going on is out of your control. Maybe we should see some examples. I did not think Sylvie meant to offend you. Okay? I do not think Sylvie meant to offend you. This sentence basically means that Sylvie didn't intend, her intentions were not to cause offense. Asking for directions means accepting that you were right. Asking for directions involves accepting that she was right? So if you ask for directions, you might as well accept that she was right. In light of recent events, we must try, make an effort, right? We must try to be more tolerant of others. We must make the effort to be more tolerant. And I really think we need to work more on this, right? We need to be more tolerant to one another. I heard you've tried everything and cannot fix the bug. Have you tried rewriting the code? Have you experimented rewriting the code? So this sentence means, or the person means, that maybe by rewriting the code, the bug will be fixed, right? So over here you see some examples of mean and try. Now let's check some examples of stop and help. Douglas will stop to drop a package on his way to Indianapolis. Okay? Douglas is going to Indianapolis, and along the way he will stop, he will make a pause, drop the package, right? And then he will continue going to Indiana. Well, to Indianapolis to be more precise. But if I use the ing, like in the next example, the copier suddenly stopped working, it means that the copier was working, it stopped working, and it didn't continue working anymore. In other words, it broke down, right? Or it broke. Now, help. Remember, help is always with the infinitive. Saul helped to build the Bay Bridge. That means that he collaborated, right? If help means collaborate, assist, right? I don't use a gerund ever. Now I am using can't help. If I am using can't help, I always use the ing. I can't help feeling that something's wrong with your sister. I can't help feeling that something's wrong with your sister. I cannot control or change how I feel. And these guys are special cases, right? These special cases, I want you to pay close attention to this. You might need to do some practice on this, of course. If you only listen to me talking about this, by doing this, you will not master these issues. The best way to master these situations that occur with the language is that you practice as much as possible, right? That's the best way to learn how to use the infinitives and gerunds after these verbs properly. Alright guys, now I want to talk to you about some special constructions that are followed by verbals. Now, again, this is explained with a little more detail on the textbook. You can see more examples over there, and it's a good idea that you take a look at this. Now, first, we have verb phrases ending in adjectives or in nouns that are followed by present participles. Okay, these are common. Yes, these are common verb phrases that are followed by adjectives or nouns that allow to use the use of present participles after them. Be busy, waste time, spend time, have a good time, etc. Right? So I can say, for example, Oz and Brian have just spent 5 hours installing the dropped ceiling. Or Diana doesn't waste time worrying about dressing nicely. Or Janice has always had trouble making time to work out. And we had a lot of fun skiing in Lake Tahoe. Now, all of these INGs are present participle phrases, right? And what are they? You have to know by now. If you don't have an auxiliary verb with them, they are adjectives, right? Then we have verb phrases that end in adjectives or in nouns that are followed by gerunds. It's no use, it's worth, or it's not worth. And examples of these are, it's no use worrying about that now. It's no use worrying about that now. It's worth reading the New Testament. So these are examples of verb phrases that end in adjectives or in nouns that are followed by gerunds. Next, we have the case of prepositions followed by gerunds. And again, remember that most prepositions are only followed by gerunds. Only the preposition but and except. But can be a preposition. But as a preposition means except, right? They mean the same thing. They are the only prepositions that you can use infinitives with. Now, there are 3 patterns that commonly allow prepositions to be followed by gerunds. The first one is adjectives plus prepositions plus gerunds. And you can see some examples right there. accustomed to, good at, surprised at, used to, worried about, tired of, interested in, afraid of. Then I go ahead and say, Melissa is good at keeping secrets. Good at, if you are going to use a verb form, you cannot use an infinitive, you have to use a gerund. Keeping secrets, object of the preposition at, right? Roger is tired of what? Of waiting for his girlfriend to make up her mind. Poor girl is so indecisive. Then we have verbs plus objects plus prepositions plus gerunds. And here we have, for example, thank someone for, or forgive someone for, accuse someone of, and stop someone from doing something, right? So we are going to use gerunds after these constructions. Basically, what I am showing you in these last slides, guys, are collocations, right? Jacqueline suspects Brian of cheating on her. Jacqueline suspects Brian of cheating on her. Dave thanked Ahmed for saving his daughter's life. And then we have the case of verbs plus prepositions plus gerunds. And examples are feel like, dream of, apologize for, etc. Our manager believes in always giving your best effort. After careful consideration, Tyrone decided against going back to Missouri. And here's a note. All verbs, guys, all verbs except modal auxiliaries have gerund and infinitives and infinitive forms, but modal verbs do not. And that will be all, guys. I know that there are still going to be questions. I know I haven't spoken about some possible challenges that you are going to face when doing the analysis of different sentences. And I know that when I am providing the explanation, we understand everything very well. But when we start to go ahead and do these practices, then we usually have a harder time. This is normal, but I'm going to be there for you in our virtual classes, and eventually when we get back together in our classroom, I'm going to be able to provide you with more explanation on these issues. But I would appreciate if you try to remember that you have to be as active as possible. You have to be proactive students and always try to go one step ahead of me to try to research on this, to try to see if you can find pieces of information that contradict what I am saying, or if you do not understand something, please feel free to go ahead and ask away. Remember, maybe somebody else has your same doubt, but that person is a little too ashamed to ask. So you don't be ashamed of asking, okay? Because you can also help another person, or possibly by asking your question, it might cause somebody else to think about other issues regarding the topic, and that is going to enrich our educational experience, okay? Okay, guys, this is all on this series, on the verbal series, and I'll see you in our virtual classes. And also remember, I recommend you go ahead and you check the material on the textbook. I recommend you check the chapter on verbals, because there are lots of pieces of information that I have omitted in this video class, right, on this recording. Have a fantastic day, everybody, and I will see you around.